Kitchen. Got your boy Chris. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for liking and subscribing, and also for just being supportive of this channel. Also, by now, we're no longer friends, we're family. So you're my familia now. So I want you guys to sit back, relax, and let's get this party started. We're gonna cook that authentic Puerto Rican fried chicken and yellow rice and beans. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, let me show you what we're gonna have going on here. One, we're gonna have 2 tablespoons of that famous homemade sofrito. We're gonna have 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce, Goya, some olives from Goya, and also some pimentos. Now, that's optional. You can put that in there if you want to. Some people do, some people don't. So, and also I'm gonna put some ham because I don't have any bacon. And then we're gonna use some ham seasoning, some jamon. And then we're gonna use some sazon, of course. And then I have 2 cups of long grain rice. And with that, we're gonna use 2 3/4 cup of water for that. But one thing I wanted to talk about, if you don't have this seasoning right here, this Larry's, you can also always just go in with the classic adobo and oregano in with the rest of your seasonings, and instead of using this if you don't have it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna move over to the pot and let's get cooking. Okay, so I have my heat on about a 4. Right now I got an electric stove, and so I've poured in about a tablespoon or a little bit more into my pot here. And now this is what I use. You don't have to, you can use whatever kind of oil you might have. So what I'm gonna do now, like I said, we got that ham because I don't have any bacon. You could use that. So this is gonna bring off just a little bit of oil as well, so which is gonna help in the cooking process. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna let this saute down. We're gonna cook. Okay, now you can see that our ham now is go ahead and we're gonna add some of that sofrito. So remember that is going to be 2 tablespoons. So we're gonna So here, like I said, we incorporated that sofrito. And also with sofrito, you know, it translates into sauteing. So that's actually what we're doing when we're doing this. We're sauteing the sofrito. So now our next step is to incorporate the 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. It doesn't have to be Goya if you ain't got Goya. I just like Goya. That's just what I buy. So now let's incorporate those. Like I always say, we're building that flavor profile. So our next step is to put our pimentos and our olives in there. Again, that's all 100% optional. But I say it's authentic because that's how I seen it done. And that's how I remember eating it. It had olives in it. And so that's just the way I'm going to do it. But okay, so now what we're going to do is take, again, here's our sazon, here's our jamon, and this is just going to go ahead and we're going to mix that in. Now we're going to go ahead and add our red beans to this, just straight red beans. Now, kidney beans, nothing, and they are drained. So, let's go ahead and help them get out of there for a minute. And that's the brand. Here, that's better, isn't it? There's the brand I use. Goya, small red beans. Let's give this a good mix. So now we're gonna add our water. Like I said, since I have long grain rice, I'm gonna be using 2 3/4 cups of water. Okay. Now let's go ahead and we're gonna stir that all together. Let's get this all incorporated here. Almost forgot to add another important ingredient, like I told you in the beginning of the video. So now let's get this all incorporated and stirred in. And then what I'll do is I will give it a taste test to see. We don't want it too salty, but we don't want it bland either. And that has your garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, and your other flavors in that one seasoning. That's what I like about it. Let's see what that flavor profile tastes like. Let's just put a little bit more. Now what we're gonna do is let this water come to a boil, and then from there what we're gonna do is move into putting the rice in there. Now a lot of people will go ahead and rinse and drain their rice. I happen to do that. A lot of people don't. That's your preference. Okay, now that our water is boiling, let's go ahead and add our rice. This is 2 cups of long grain rice. And again, I used 2 3/4 cup water. Now as we're mixing this together, you don't want this to be liquidy or too thick, if that makes sense. So now we're going to incorporate this, like I said, moving this around. And we're going to cover this, and I'm going to come back and check it in about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll see how much of this liquid the rice has absorbed. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. I like to let mine sit, for the whole 10 minutes. You don't have to, but I do. So, with that being said, what we're going to do now, as you can see, this rice absorbed a good amount of water. It's not done yet. We're at that stage where the rice, is absorbing water. You're going to have some pieces of, rice that are tender, and stuff like that. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to move this around. We're going to incorporate it. And, we're just going to, so this way it doesn't stick to the sides. We don't want any of that, And so that rice did really well absorbing everything. There's the beans. It did really, really good. So now, like I said, we're at that point where we have some tender rice, some, if it may be done, some of it, is definitely not done. So now what we're going to do, we're going to turn our stove. I have an electric, remember. So I'm going to turn mine down to about a 2. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover this for 25 minutes. Now what I like to do, this is just me, I'll come back at the 20-minute mark, check on it. If it needs to go that 5 minutes longer, then I let it go. But if it's good at the 20, I pull it off. So let's go ahead and get this covered back up, and I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, so for me, it's been about 20 minutes, and that rice is good to go. It is not dry. It is not too watery or nothing. It absorbed perfectly. Our rice is good to go. It is done. So now, with that, we'll go ahead and remove it, and we'll just let this sit for just a minute. Just like the title says, authentic Puerto Rican fried chicken. So for this, we're not going to even use a lot of seasonings. We're going to use a half a packet of sazon. We're going to use some adobo, and we're going to use some oregano. Now, there's two ways you can make authentic Puerto Rican fried chicken. You can do it chicharron style, cut it into chunks, bread it, and fry it. This way that I'm doing today is going to be just pretty much frying it in its own skin. And so there it is. It's cleaned, it's rinsed and everything. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut some slits into it. And what this is going to do is help with the cooking process. And also it's going to help get those seasonings deep down into that chicken, right all the way down to the bone. So we're going to cut these little slits in here. I got about maybe 5 drumsticks here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut off into that, and we'll just, just like that. That's all you want to do. Just to get enough in there so you can, when we're mixing this in here, we're good to go. So all right, now here comes the other part. I rinse my hands, we're good to go. All that good stuff. No salmonella. We ain't got nothing to worry about there. So, when it comes to seasoning things, we often tend to use measuring cups, and all that good stuff. So, for me, what I'm going to do, I'm going to eyeball this with my adobo. I always, hear people, oh, you taste with love, da da da, when you're cooking, yes, for sure. But I'm not about to taste no raw chicken. So I'm going to tell you that that's probably about, right now at this point, that's probably about 2.5 tablespoons of adobo. Because this is so powerful, oregano, it's just got a really powerful taste to it. I'm just going to probably put about maybe 1.5 teaspoons in there. And then we're going to use 1/2 packet of sazon, because I don't want my chicken to be orange. We're just using that sazon just for a flavor, more of a flavor profile, because it has salt in it and different things. So 1/2 packet. Now, I will say this is just me. You mix it how you mix it. I believe right here I grew up, putting my hands in there and just mixing. When I was cooking something, I want it to be incorporated really, really well. This is the best way to me to do it. Some people might say, oh no, use some, utensils, use this. No, I want to get my hands in there and I just want to go ahead and work it all in there. Make sure it gets into those cuts all the way down in there onto that skin. Just want to work that in there. Okay, so now we have our cast iron pan. That's what I like to fry my chicken in. So I'm going to pour just a little bit of oil in here. Like I said, it's been sitting here warming up. That's what you got to do with that cast iron. We're not trying to deep fry this chicken, but we need just enough oil to be able to fry this chicken in. All right, let's go ahead and get this in here. You can see I'm just trying to do that. And what I'm going to do, I want to get that skin down first. So, here we go. And as you can see, it's not being deep fried. It's just being fried. And what we're going to do is take and cook these for about 3.5 to 4 minutes on each side, until it gets a little golden color, and until they're done, until they have an internal temperature of 165. Okay, so it's been about 3.5, 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and flip it. Let's see what it's looking like. You see how it's got that golden color there? That's what we're looking for. Looking for that golden color. That's how you make authentic Puerto Rican fried chicken, yellow rice, and beans. So let's go ahead and give that a taste. Ham's definitely coming through. Good flavor in the beans, all the way around really good. Let's check this chicken out. Definitely got a good crunch on the skin, good flavor, but I'm gonna finish that up. But like I always say, until next time, hug your loved ones, tell them you love them. Peace.